Welcome to the silent verdict.
With Clara Monroe and Elias Gray.
What if the kindest thing you ever tried to do for a friend ended up trapping them in a total legal nightmare? I mean, it's a question that starts with a really generous heart, but it ends up in a world of consequences that no one saw coming. And it all started with this one fascinating and deceptively simple question posted online.
So, this is the actual question posted on a legal advice forum. You have a 78-year-old man who thinks he has this brilliant, selfless idea for his friend. But this one little sentence, well, it kicks off a journey that is so much more complicated than he ever could have imagined.
All right, let's start at the beginning, with what on the surface just seems like a simple, generous proposal. Okay, so on the surface, this whole situation seems so straightforward, right? We've got two friends, no romance involved, and a goal that feels completely selfless. The man, he just sees this as a way to leave a meaningful financial gift to someone he cares about. He's using money that, in his mind, would otherwise just disappear back into the system. It feels like a perfect, no-lose plan.
But that simple plan immediately raises this huge question, the one he actually came to ask in the first place. Is this some kind of brilliant life hack? Or is it a crime? Is this a legitimate arrangement, or are we talking about fraud? This is where things really start to get interesting.
So let's just get right to the heart of it. Can you actually walk into a courthouse, sign a marriage license, and make it all legally binding if your only reason is money? Not love, not partnership, just cold, hard cash and benefits. Is that allowed?
And you can really see the fine line he's walking here. On one hand, look, people get married for financial security all the time. The law doesn't actually require you to be romantically in love. As long as you follow your state's laws and you're honest on the paperwork, you're generally in the clear. But it can tip over into fraud if you start misrepresenting facts, especially in situations like immigration, where sham marriages are a huge deal. It's really all about your intent.
So, the crucial point here is, the initial answer is yes. Marrying for financial reasons in this specific context probably isn't illegal. But don't get too comfortable with that answer, because that's just the first door opening into a much larger and more complicated maze. See, the real issue here isn't about legality, it's about consequences. This one comment is the absolute turning point of the entire story. It completely reframes the question. It's not, can I do this anymore? It's, what happens if I do this? You can't just pick the one benefit you want from the marriage menu and ignore everything else that comes with it. And that one little comment just opens the floodgates to a whole world of unintended consequences. Because once you look past that single shiny benefit, you see what marriage actually is. It's a total legal and financial merger of two lives, the whole shebang. I mean, just think about this. All of a sudden, your new spouse has the legal right to make life or death medical decisions for you. If she gets into a massive car wreck and gets sued, guess what? Your assets could be on the line to pay that judgment. If you need long-term care, her assets could disqualify you from getting Medicaid. Oh, and without an ironclad will, she automatically becomes your heir, which could cause enormous problems for any other family you might have. Every single one of these is a potential life-altering disaster.
And as if all that wasn't enough, there is another massive problem. The entire plan is built on a complete misunderstanding of how Social Security survivor benefits actually work. It's not nearly as simple as getting married, and then the money starts flowing after you die. See, the Social Security Administration has rules to prevent exactly this kind of thing. First off, you have to be married for at least a year. But here is the real kicker. The friend, who is 45 years old, wouldn't be able to claim a dime of survivor benefits until she turns 60. That is a 15-year waiting period, assuming she doesn't become disabled. The free money he was imagining isn't actually available for decades. Okay, so let's pull all these threads together now. We started this whole thing with a question about what's legal, and we've ended up with a much deeper question about what's wise. What does the final balance sheet look like when we weigh that one intended benefit against all of these risks?
And when you lay it all out like this, wow, the contrast is just stark. On one side of the scale, you have a single, long-delayed financial benefit for friend. And on the other side, you have a mountain of immediate, life-changing legal and financial risks for both of them. Suddenly, this generous act looks like it could have absolutely devastating consequences that neither of them ever even considered.
So we're left with this question, right? This man wanted to give a gift, but by choosing marriage as the way to deliver it, he was unknowingly betting his entire legal and financial autonomy, and his friends too, on a plan that wouldn't even work the way he thought it would. And it really forced us all to ask, At what point does a simple act of kindness cross the line and become a truly dangerous gamble?